Greetings, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome to the Disney Toastmaster Podcast. I'm Kyle.
And I'm Melissa. Welcome to the final part of our Kungaloosh series. Today, we chat about Part 3, Drunken Disney Animation.
Throughout this series, we'll be unraveling the connections between the Dumbo ride, Disney characters enjoying a drink on screen, and the now vanished Pleasure Island in downtown Disney.
Join me as your Toastmaster for a crawl through Drunken Disney Animation and what we think is the most accurate and researched info on Disney debauchery.
So raise your glass, and just like in Sleeping Beauty, scrumps!
Scrumps!
A toast to this night where the outlook is rosy and the future is bright.
Well, I like when you're like, "Hi Kyle, start here. I screwed up." Okay, so now our other piece we're going to talk about that is the carryover is animated characters drinking alcohol.
Oh yeah.
Which it's, we talked about this and I remembered some key ones. Dumbo.
Yep.
We already mentioned Dumbo got drunk accidentally. He did not try to do it himself.
Right.
And I remember characters from the past getting drunk, and I kind of feel like it has fallen out of favor in modern Disney pictures.
Right.
You don't see drinking as much.
No.
But then when I dug into it, I tell you what, there's a lot more drinking in these movies than you notice.
Really?
And you know who does notice? IMDb Parental Guide.
Oh.
They have a rating on every one of these movies of what is the exposure to alcohol and smoking, violence, nudity, all of this stuff. And they're pretty stingy because there were some that they called alcohol that I said, no, that's not characters drinking alcohol.
Really?
So it's a little bit of an interpretation, but here we go.
Oh, wait, cheers to this, by the way.
Cheers.
Yeah.
To characters drinking. Roger Rabbit is one of the best ones. I mean, he loses his ever-loving mind. And they do that on purpose because he cannot hold his... I don't want it. You do want it. I don't want it. You do want it.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, classic.
Classic. Roger Rabbit.
Of course, it starts with... So there's no drinking in Snow White. Pinocchio there is. Pleasure Island. Lost Boys.
Oh, yeah.
Candy for lunch. Beer. But Pinocchio also turns green when he drinks the beer.
Oh,
It
yeah.
does it. There's that. It is a kid drinking beer, but it doesn't go well. He doesn't like it.
Right.
So there's kind of that additional image there. And then, so that was 1940.
I think it's like the cigar, too, that's making him turn green, too.
Yeah. Yeah. And might have been. And I admittedly, there was a lot of mention of, and a lot of kind of crossover of smoking.
Right.
Which, of course, that's still that exposure of, do you want your kids to see characters do this? Is this necessary for character development? I just touched on drinking for this particular deep dive, which I told Kyle earlier, I have watched about 7 minutes of at least half the Disney animated library in the last week, just looking for specific scenes to confirm or deny whether there's alcohol drinking.
Right.
So I've done a lot of fast forwarding on my Disney Plus. I got the use out of it this week, let me tell you. So that was 1940, and then Dumbo, obviously.
Okay.
Dumbo drinks. Dumbo has crazy dreams about pink elephants after he drinks, and it's because the clowns are partying after the show. They knock over wine or champagne. I think it's champagne because there's bubbles. But
Yeah.
some references called it wine, which technically wine is champagne. It probably wasn't from France anyway, if I'm going to be honest.
Some fancy clowns.
So it does get dumped into the bucket of water that Dumbo needed to drink. So he has the pink elephants.
I remember watching that as an adult now and being like, Dumbo's kind of a lightweight. Like it's a big barrel of water, watered down,
a little bit of wine.
watered down with some champagne.
That's a solid point.
Yeah, he freaking goes crazy and hallucinates.
Yeah.
But maybe we don't know how an elephant would react.
Maybe he's allergic to alcohol.
Could be.
Some
Yep.
people are allergic
I
and
knew-
can't drink any.
Yeah, I actually knew someone that was allergic to alcohol and still drank, but it really just meant that he was done after one beer.
Cheap date.
Yeah. So.
Okay. So then after Dumbo, it ramps up with Fantasia. because there is the pastoral, which has Bacchus or Dionysus, which I think he's Bacchus according to Disney lore. So I did actually do another deep dive on this because I was curious, because I was like, which is it? These are both. And I figured out that Dionysus is the Greek name for the god of wine, of fertility and pleasure. The Romans called him Bacchus. So it is the same dude, Greek versus Roman, from an actual source on mythology. See, he was the son of Zeus and Semele, the daughter of a king. Everywhere he went, he planted vines and taught viniculture. And he travels around with satyrs and maenads. And
satyrs know how to party.
Bacchae, which apparently were possessed women who gave themselves into ecstasy.
Oh my.
This is it's an actual source on Greek and Roman mythology. So this was put into a Disney movie, of course. Of course, that's a good topic for a Disney film. So Bacchus, he starts as a very, very happy drunk, kind of partway through the pastoral. He's drinking, he's dancing, you've got centaurs and satyrs and maida and everything. And then Zeus gets pissed off and says, "Stop it." And he starts throwing lightning at him. The wine barrel they're all running for cover. They're all upset. The wine barrel breaks. There's a river of wine. Ooh. It's a whole thing. So it's pretty nuts, honestly. Like, he's drunk. He's sauced.
He's done so.
He is. So then after that, we are 1942. Saludos amigos.
Okay.
Jose serves Donald some cachaca. But again, this goes back to Donald drinks it and then he breathes fire and his eyes go crazy. So again, and the fire actually lights Jose's cigar. So it's again a character drinking, but a character not reacting well to drinking.
Right.
I think there is a certain subset of child that would see a character breathe fire and say, "I want to do that," and then the majority are going to pass.
Right.
So
doesn't look like he's having a good time.
It is an exposure, but I feel like it's an exposure with negatives.
Sure.
So then we jump forward a bit. 1949, The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
Oh my, yeah. Okay, I remember this one.
So Mr. Toad visits a tavern but doesn't drink.
Okay.
But this is also him telling about his experience of how he's innocent. So this is also in the words of Mr. Toad. So we don't know how much of this we can believe because he was crazy.
Right.
But in Toad Hall, once he loses the case, he loses his manner. When they try to break back into Toad Hall to get it back, the weasels are passed out everywhere.
Oh, okay.
There's wine bottles and drink, like they are passed out drunk. They're not passed out tired partway up the stairs. Like that's not how that works. But I don't know if kids would know. There's a bunch of weasels sleeping.
They're sleepy weasels.
On the other hand,
also, I'm gonna make a drink called the Sleepy Weasel.
Sleepy Weasel. On the other half of that, Ichabod, Brom Bones, drinks the heck out of beer. Like, he is serving up the good stuff. He even gives beer to the people. He gives people to his horse and some street dogs. Like, there's beer a-flowing from that strapping man. So then, Peter Pan, 1953. Mr. Smee sneaks some drink. I think it's rum.
Okay. Makes sense.
Some references mentioned it wine, but he's kind of hiding it from Dr. Hook. Like, he puts, Captain Hook, he puts it in the piano. So it's Smee. So it's a villain drinking.
Okay.
It's pretty brief. Then we go to 1959, which is one of my favorite examples, when they're the fathers of Philip and Aurora.
Oh, yes.
They're celebrating the engagement, the betrothal. So they're Strumpf, and the minstrel is the best.
Oh, yeah, he's like under the table. Yeah.
Because the kings don't drink that much because they're talking and they're gallivanting and they're arguing, but the minstrel is like passes out.
And he's like sneaking it, isn't he?
Oh, yeah. He's sneaking it. He's pouring it into his mandolin, drinking it out of it. And then, even better, he wakes up just in time to then be put asleep by the fairy's sleep spell because he got passed out.
That's hilarious. I love Sleeping Beauty. Beautiful, beautiful.
And that was one of the ones that brought together this, like, the idea of this as a topic, because that stands out on my head so much.
Right, yep.
Then we go to 1961, 101 Dalmatians, Horace and Jasper.
Of course.
Well, really mostly Jasper, drinking in when they're watching the puppies. in
Okay.
the house.
Yep.
He's drinking so much. Horace wants food. Jasper wants drink. He's drinking so much at one point, there's the gag where he picks up the cat and puts it up to his mouth instead of his bottle.
Okay.
So there's no proof what he's drinking. When you drink out of an opaque bottle,
Right.
but he's drinking.
Yeah.
This
And you
one
mistake
counts.
a cat for a bottle.
Yeah, you're drinking.
Confirmed.
When you pick up a cat by the neck and it makes it all the way to your lips before you figure out that it's not your bottle,
Yeah.
you're drinking.
You're drinking.
Then we get to, I did put the year, for some reason, of Sword in the Stone. There are two very subtle scenes of drinking, and I would never have clocked this. It's two scenes where they're just in the hall, and it's probably wine in their cups.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
They're not drunk. It's just what's on the table. You can't see, you kind of see it splash a little bit, and it's red.
Okay.
And knowing the time period, I think
Sure.
it could be argued that was the liquid of the time. I don't think they could drink water safely back then.
Right.
When you're talking about medieval.
Yeah, you're picking the wine over the water.
I would not have counted this, but I did count it because it is wine. It's clearly wine. So Aristocats, it gets interesting. That jumps to 1970. You don't actually see any drinking, but you see a drunk-ass goose. Uncle Waldo, he comes out and he's rambling and ranting about how he was caught by a chef and basted in white wine. So he got sauced by trying to be made into a sauce. And then apparently his quote is, because he was British, he would have preferred sherry.
I love that.
So there's this drunk goose walking around with him. In 1973, Robin Hood, Sir Hiss, gets forced into the barrel of ale.
Oh, yeah.
And they put the stopper in. And
Okay.
he's trapped in there. It's all during like the archery chaos scene when Robin is covered up. He's got the big stork outfit on.
Yes. Okay.
So John finds him after that, and he pops up the cork, and Hiss comes out. He's all drunk and it says ale on the barrel.
Oh,
it is
definitely.
ale.
It is confirmed.
He is a villain, and it was not voluntary. Then we go to 1977, The Rescuers. There is I found it in one online source, Luke, the stereotypical bayou drunk, his top of moonshine.
I've been called that before.
And when he drinks, it's the Donald treatment. Fire comes
okay.
out, the eyes go crazy. But he also then does feed it to Bernard at one point and said, it's good for what ails you
Good for what ails you.
when they land there. 1977 had a second one, so I did not include live action drinking, but I had to include this one because it's phenomenal, and it's Pete's Dragon.
Oh, okay.
Mickey Rooney's character.
It's been a long time since I've seen this.
So it's the main scene that got this in the list for me. It starts with him coming down the street on a bicycle, being so sauced that he doesn't recognize the dragon as a dragon. He just says, "Your friend is green. You look terrible." Until he finally figures out it's a dragon.
Okay.
And then it goes into the scene, the dragon. I swear I saw a dragon. And that is an entire dance scene. So he comes in and he takes a shot of probably whiskey, but it's clearly liquor.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone is drinking beer. They're dancing on beer barrels. There's beer flying in the air. Like, it is drink. Like,
That's drinky drink.
yes,
Yeah.
It is not an animated character drinking, but it is animated character standing in the scene.
Okay.
So I was like, this is just too phenomenal. Like,
Yeah.
I can't not put this on the list. Then we have 1985, The Black Cauldron. This one's not as exciting. There's a guard asleep with a spilled bottle of wine. He's clearly, and then there's a party at the Horn King's castle when they're clearly drinking beer.
Okay.
It's kind of boring, but there's drinking. Then you get the Great Mouse Detective in 1986.
Yes.
This one was fun.
Yep.
When they go underground to their burlesque bar to try the rat trap.
Yep, and they're like disguised.
They're trying to gather information. Yep. Dawson is dressed like me, basically.
Right.
And then Basil is in like a captain's outfit.
Yeah.
Like that Captain Hook, like a sea captain.
That's fun.
The drinks get drugged by the villains, and Dawson gets so drunk he ends up on stage dancing with the cabaret girls.
Yeah.
So on top
Like
of
you
this,
do.
there's also in the song "The World's Greatest Criminal Mind," where Radigan is singing about how delightful he is with all of his cronies. One mouse in that scene gets so drunk he calls Radigan a rat.
Oh,
then
that's
gets
right.
eaten.
And then it gets ate by the cat.
Ate by the cats.
Yeah, that's right.
So now we're up to 1988. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? We already talked about that. There's the human characters drink throughout regularly, but then we do have the Toon drink, and he loses his ever-loving mind, his eyes, the fire. He's like a fire. It's phenomenal. It's delightful, but again, it's also kind of a negative connotation.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of human drinking.
Yeah. They seem to like.
Yeah.
Or to drown their sorrows. I know.
Yeah, I
bit of
mean,
that, too.
there was a lot of depressing in that movie.
Yeah.
I love it. After Who Framed Roger Rabbit in 1988, 1990, Rescuers Down Under, Bernard and Bianca have champagne with their nice dinner at the beginning of the movie.
Nice.
I mean, but do you see?
Classy.
I looked for lots of resources of where all the movies where they drink. I didn't find. The longest list I found had like 7 movies. It's in everything.
It's not
It's
7 movies.
insane. So this is, from what I have discovered, the most comprehensive list to date.
Yeah.
But let's keep going.
Yeah, I love what we're doing here. We found like these threads to go through all of these things, and drinking seemed like a really good first one for us to focus on. Because I mean, there is a lot of it in the Disney things, like whether it be the movies, the parks. I mean, the ride.
I mean, this is that elephant in the room of us being giant Disney fans and knowing that Walt was not a fan of drinking in the park
Yeah.
and drinking, but he let it be in so many films.
Oh yeah.
And he drank.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's why we're here. Toastmasters.
Toastmasters.
All right, so that was Rescuers Down Under, pretty brief. Then we get to the Renaissance. Beauty and the Beast, 1991. The drinking is only done by the bad guys. Gaston and his cronies in his tavern are drinking
yeah.
beer. Beast, Belle, Maurice, they don't drink. It's all the villains. And this is kind of the new trend.
Villains are the drinkies.
Pocahontas, Governor Ratcliffe is drinking red wine on his ship. He's a villain. Hercules, apparently their gods were drinking wine at the beginning of it, 1987. I mean, they're gods.
Yeah.
They can do whatever they want.
Yeah.
That's-
Probably does nothing to them.
Right. Like, what's the point? 1996, Hunchback of Notre Dame. Frollo brings wine with bread and cheese when he comes to have a lunch with Quasi. But apparently Quasi doesn't drink because he's a good guy. Frollo drinks a little bit. It's not a ton, but apparently Hugo slows down some wine.
Nice.
The Jason Alexander gargoyle.
Yep.
Then we get Bug's Life in 1998, which I think wasn't Pixar did this, and Pixar wasn't Disney yet.
Okay.
But Pixar and Disney have been so intertwined for so long.
No, it's still yeah.
So this one is questionable to me. The one reason so there's a bug bar inside of a tin can, which the tin can, you see at one point, it is the label on it is low fat lard. That's the can.
Okay.
Low fat lard, which is it's very silly. That's where Flick meets the Flea Circus Troupe.
Okay.
To recruit them to be his heroes. You see them drink, but they just get a drop because they're bugs. They ask for something and they are given a drop of liquid. You don't see them react to it. You don't see them get drunk. Okay. There is gambling in the bar. There is a joke made about the hair of the dog.
Okay.
There are wine corks visibly in the bar as kind of like backdrops.
Okay.
And this is what pushed it over for me because I wasn't going to include it, but the mosquito orders a Bloody Mary. It's a mosquito. He's ordering a Bloody Mary. Okay. But that was enough for me to push it into this is drinking.
They're drinking.
It's questionable.
Yeah.
So then we get to Tarzan, 1999. Clayton drinks wine, offers it to Tarzan. Tarzan doesn't drink.
Okay.
He puts it away. He's like, not interested. Treasure Planet. This one kind of pissed me off, to be honest, because it was referenced as drinking in the Benbow Inn, which there's multiple scenes. There's the Benbow Inn's at the beginning.
Mm-hmm.
There's no alcohol at the beginning. There's some juice this lady wants.
Yeah.
At the very end, when they're partying because they won the day, there was one space character with a glass of beer in their hand in the background.
Oh, okay.
You don't see them drink it,
But it's there.
but it's beer. I'm like, you've gotta be kidding me. Like, that's... No.
We have if you're looking for your comprehensive list of Disney characters drinking, we've got you covered.
Then we get to Home on the Range, 2004. They're in a saloon. There's beer. They're drinking it. It's fine.
Okay.
Valiant, 2005. Again, this one is one of kind of like Bug's Life, where it's a little less literal because there's a bird bar, but the heroes come in.
What's Valiant?
You haven't seen Valiant?
No,
It's
I'm
the
like,
carrier pigeon who wants to be a hero.
I am not familiar with Valiant.
He's not seen a movie. You're gonna have to watch Valiant.
I now have to find Valiant.
Yeah. I think Ewan McGregor.
Theater release?
I'm pretty sure Ewan McGregor is the main voice, and Hugh Laurie is one of the voices.
Oh, okay.
2005.
I'm in for Hugh Laurie, so
Yeah. It's fine. It's fine.
it's fine.
It's not my favorite.
Okay.
But in Valiant, there is a bird bar.
Oh, okay.
I sold because behind the bird bar, there are 3 shells that have cake taps on them.
Oh, okay.
And then the Hugh Laurie's character comes in ordering bug juice shaken, not stirred.
There you go.
So again, it's
Classy.
Only adults are going to get those references, though.
Yeah, yeah.
I don't think kids are going to get that. Then we come to Ratatouille 2007, which again is kind of what brought it to my head, because I remember drinking in the movies all the time when they were kids, and then they stopped, and then in Ratatouille they let a hero get drunk, and I was like flabbergasted that they let this happen, because that's what happens. Skinner gets Linguini drunk on good wine, trying to get information out of him of how are you doing this? You can't cook. What's happening? How is this? And there's wine present throughout the film in the restaurant. But this is the first time in a long that I had remembered seeing a good character drink.
Okay.
And he is a lightweight. And
Right.
he's delightful. I love Ratatouille. So, yeah. So that's 2007. So that is the first time that I was able to really see a hero drink since the Renaissance happened. But he was also kind of pushed into it by a bad guy.
Right.
So then we get Up. Up 2009. Charles Muntz and Carl, when they meet for the first time, there's champagne at lunch, but they don't drink it.
Okay.
It's clearly champagne filled in their glass. You don't see either of them take a sip.
Okay.
So neither one. Princess and the Frog 2009. In the Almost There number, she drinks or tastes a red wine while she's doing her thing. She's running a restaurant.
Yeah, you gotta taste it.
There's also at the costume party, there's wine and martinis.
Sure.
Like there's an octopus with 8 glasses of wine at the same time.
Yeah.
Then we get to Cars 2, which again, so the cars are sitting in front of martinis. The cars aren't drinking martinis because that's not how Cars works. They're just there and a martini's there. They don't actually pick them up and sip them.
They're just what?
But at one point, Mater does. There's one with a straw, and Mater tries it.
Mm-hmm.
He's getting a drink for Lightning. He drinks it for him. He drinks it instead. Does a little thing, and there's a spit take and spits it back in the glass. So because of that, I included it on the list.
He drank it.
He drank it, and he hated it, which again is that negative reinforcement.
Sure.
We get to Wreck-It Ralph.
Tappers?
Tappers is root beer.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
So the original Tappers is Budweiser sponsored. I've played it at an arcade bar. It's fun. They changed it to root beer fully in the movie.
Oh, okay.
But at the party in Felix's apartment at the beginning, multiple town members have martinis in their hand.
Yeah.
They don't drink them, but martini glass, they're very distinctly martinis.
Yeah.
And then in one of Calhoun's flashbacks, she has a glass of red wine she clinks with her fiance.
Oh, yeah.
You don't see anyone drink, but they're drink. There's the martini glasses were pretty distinct.
Yep.
Coco, Wreck-It Ralph was 2012. Coco 2017. One character drinks a shot. And one character drinks poison. It's
that's right.
Hector and Ernesto. That's the betrayal flashback.
Yep. Okay.
I did not include poison because, like, Emperor's New Groove, they're drinking poison. You know, there's Snow White is poison. I didn't include poison. Just Coco. So Coco. And then in Incredibles 2, 2018, there is the party where Elastigirl meets a bunch of other superheroes.
Oh yeah.
They're drinking. There's
on the ship,
cocktails.
on the cruise ship or something.
It was in the like apartment of the brother and sister.
Okay, before
Like recruiting them.
Yeah.
So I have a number I didn't count. Again, I didn't count poison. I didn't go for the shorts. There are multiple old shorts. Pluto gets drunk. Mickey Mouse gets drunk, or they're drinking. I don't know if they get drunk.
Yeah.
I didn't include Aladdin. There is a scene where red wine appears in one of Genie's mad Frenchmen gimmicks, but it's Abu and the carpet, and they don't drink it.
That's right.
I didn't include it. It's very brief. Lady and the Tramp. Somebody listed this on their list. There's no alcohol in this movie at all. I watched the whole thing. Like, they're like, it's in the restaurant. Like, you don't ever see the inside of the restaurant in that movie.
Right.
You only see the back end.
Yeah.
So that was on someone's list, and I disagreed with that one. Mary Poppins is only hinted at live action, and her medicine is rum punch flavored. Then the father mentions drinking sherry, but there's no actual. So there's reference to it, but not drinking.
Right.
Bedknobs and Broomsticks live action. Miss Eglantine and Professor Brad drink wine with dinner. Live characters. I wasn't going for live characters unless you're spectacular Mickey Rooney. Not able to recognize that a dragon is a dragon. Like
followed up with a musical number. Yeah,
you're gonna make the list
on kegs.
That is exceptional.
Right.
Emperor's New Groove. I didn't include it because it's poison. The other characters, they're all given the wine. This is the whole shtick. They all have wine. Which one's got the poison in it? Krog has no idea, so he mixes them all together. Okay. And puts poison in everyone's glass. And so they have to make sure only Kuzco drinks it.
All right.
Love me some Krog.
Yeah.
Somebody put Toy Story, IMDb put Toy Story on the list from 1995. You can vaguely...
when they're talking about Miss Nesbet's tea or something?
They actually do reference that, which is then they say he acts drunk. And I'm like, that's silly. Yeah. So the other reference is...
It's not like that girl was putting alcohol in the little teacups.
They're being silly. They're playing.
Yeah.
In Sid's house, when they're escaping, the dad is asleep in front of the TV. And they said he's asleep with beer cans on the floor. You can barely see 2 cans, and you don't know what those cans are. Like, I don't count that one. In Atlantis, that was also tagged by IMDb, that the old guy drinks 2 martinis after doing yoga. But the glasses, you can't see in them. They don't even really look like martini glasses to me. I said no. They don't drink in Brave. Somebody said they did during the betrothal feast. I saw no sign of that myself. Tangled was an interesting one.
Okay.
Tangled's tricky. So they have a whole scene in a tavern. The Snuggly Duckling.
That's right. Okay, I'm surprised. Okay.
You don't see anyone drink.
Interesting.
They're dancing. They're singing. There's liquid flying from the ceiling at one point.
Right.
But no one's drinking it. There is one red-nosed character who's a little wobbly, but he's also acting as a decoy for Flint and Rapunzel to get away.
That's right, yeah.
So I feel like you can make an argument.
Whatever his name is.
The Cupid guy.
Cupid guy, whatever his name is.
So I decided not to include it.
And he acts like that the whole time and the whole movie.
Yeah. So I'm like, I think that's just that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, he's probably drunk.
Yeah.
Again, in Onward 2020, they're in a tavern, but there's no sign of any drinking. And in Canto, there is wine on the table when the Guzman family comes over for dinner because he's supposed to propose to the one daughter. They all have red wine on their table. No one touches it. So there is your conclusive. My top 3, my favorite drunken characters from all of these.
I'm ready. Wait. I'm excited for this. We're doing favorite drunken characters
from all of this conclusive list.
Yes.
Which again, I may have missed some.
Right.
If you found some more, let us know.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of digging. My favorites are Bacchus from Fantasia. He was ridiculous.
Okay.
The Minstrel from Sleeping Beauty.
Right.
And Linguini from Ratatouille. Those are my three favorite.
Love it. That's awesome.
So yeah, there is a lot of argument for, does that need to be part of these films
Sure.
for kids? And that's a valid point.
Yeah, I agree. But, at the same part too, I think if you look in the culture of America or Disney or anything like that, drinking is a part of so many things, whether it be like maybe you shouldn't have, people being totally blasted or something like that. But I think that such a big part of our culture is celebrations and things like that being done with a toast or with a cheers or something like that, or just a wind down of your day.
And it's so no human is going to be able to never see drinking. So having it just visible to kids, and in a lot of these examples with negative reinforcement,
Sure.
is that maybe more responsible than pretending it doesn't exist?
That's right. Yeah. Yeah.
Teaching abstinence
Right.
because you think that's going to be safer.
Yeah.
I don't know that that's I clocked 33 animated and one halfway animated film with drinking, and some of them. Okay, Treasure Planet pissed me off, so I took too long on it, so I put it on the list of you white, even though you don't see him drink.
The work was there.
But yeah, they have been showing characters drinking alcohol in animation the entire time.
Wow. Yeah.
Whether you noticed it or not.
Nice. Well, there you go. Drunken history, Disney style.
Yep.
Cool. Hey, Melissa, that was crazy. I can't believe how many characters just got completely schlammered.
Well, not that many got schlammered, but a lot of them had libation.
Okay, that's true. Not very many went over the top, but they did enjoy a throwing one back, it looked like.
Yeah. It was a presence on screen because it's a presence on life.
It is. It's a presence in my life. That's so, hey guys, thank you guys so much for tuning in on our first series here, Kungaloosh. Make sure you go check us out on YouTube too. Disney Toastmaster on YouTube. We're making the Kungaloosh cocktail. Learn that with us and get our review of that cocktail as well.
Kungalicious? No, that's terrible.
No, I love it. It's so good. So, anyways, thank you guys so much for tuning in for this. Please, leave us some comments or something too. Tell us what you like, what you don't like.
Yeah, this is a new thing. We're new to the game.
New to the game.
So tell us what you thought. Tell us what you want.
Do you?
Within reason.
Within reason, yes. No backseating. I mean, yeah, you can backseat. It's okay. Just if you want to too, give us some ideas. Maybe you got a couple 3 connections we want to see too. We'll look at those too.
Yeah.
Cool. We'll see you later. Thank you.